Vanakkam நேயர்களே, welcome back to another episode on Vada Poche Tamil podcast. We are now available on most streaming platforms, which is Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or எந்த பாட்காஸ்ட் பிளாட்ஃபார்மில் நீங்கள் கேட்குறதா இருந்தாலும் நீங்கள் அதை கேட்டுக்கலாம்.
நம்மள சோஷியல் மீடியாவில் நீங்கள் ஃபைண்ட் பண்ணலாம் at Vada Poche Tamil podcast, Instagram and TikTok. Leave us a comment, message அனுப்புங்க, ஏதாவது ஃபீட்பேக் இருந்தாலும் சொல்லுங்கள். We'll definitely reply to you guys. So please reach out to us and let's have a conversation going. Enjoy the show. I mentioned just now that there's a bit of a shift. Youngsters nowadays are a little bit more open. They're a little bit less in the box now, right? And so when you're doing you do you, is it meant to speak to a specific age group, or is it like general population, anybody who feels trapped? Because it's subjective, the box.
Yeah. I mean, in general, anyone who feels trapped, but mostly I think my age group, which is like 30-year-olds. I don't really want to inspire Gen Zs. I think they're inspired. You know, I love them. They're great, whatever. But like, it's the people who have already like, you know, done whatever they're supposed to do, and then now are like kind of trapped because they've got no choice but either to continue or take an extreme risk and do something else, you know, because you are so far there that if you continue, you'll be stable, you'll get a good income, you know, it's there, it's fine. Or you'll just be like miserable, which I feel like a lot of people my age are. I'm not saying that if you do the Singaporean lifestyle, you're going to be miserable. I'm not saying that, because some people are very, very happy with it, and good for them. But I would say 80% are not happy. And I see first-hand experience of like people are just living like on a, what's that thing, the hamster wheel?
Yes.
Yeah, just there like on autopilot. They're just like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? What do I have to do tomorrow? Like there's just no like joy in living. And so I would say, actually the most people who come for the dialogues and the workshops are 30-year-olds and above, like between 30 to 35-ish. And a lot of them are feeling like, there was this one girl, she's now come for 3 dialogues, which is amazing. And I don't have like a lot of people. I have like 7-8 people. Her first time she came, she was super shy and just didn't want to talk at all. But I could tell like something is wrong, like something was bothering her. And I think it was just like, she said like, I'm living with my parents, my mom specifically. And she was like 30, she's 31-ish. And it's just like, she feels so trapped. She doesn't know what to do. And she was like really like very emotional. And she was just like, Then the next month she was like, I'm kind of like starting to do my own thing. Like I'm going traveling. It's nice. And then the third month she's like, I'm going to come for the breakfast. Like, can I organize things? It's really nice to see. I don't really know. Like, I don't know if it was just like...
Is it like multiple personalities?
I don't know if it was just like us having a conversation and allowing her the space to talk about it, or maybe she got some help other ways. But I think it was... I'm very happy and very grateful that she came down for it.
Safe zone.
Yeah.
Maybe a sense of community.
Maybe she found you guys as a safe.
That community, right?
Yeah, I also feel like she couldn't really talk about it with her normal peers, which is another thing that I always get, is like that they can't have these normal conversations, which tend to go quite deep during the dialogues, which is weird. You have strangers and you suddenly talk about deep shit, like it's like, what? But
it's therapeutic.
Yeah, in a way it is really therapeutic. And actually it could be better because with strangers, you know, you don't see them again. Kind of like, you can just say whatever and then leave.
Minimal to no judgment.
So I think that, that age group.
Right.
Sorry.
So no, I also had a question. Like, you know, we are aware, I think, based on whatever we spoke about, we are aware of our level of happiness, level of satisfaction, what we're working towards and what we're doing, right? So, but there are a lot of people, I think, like you mentioned, like 80%, right? You mentioned like a vast majority of the population, they're going about their thing and they're just part of the rat race. And a lot of people, I feel it's just an opinion. I don't have any data, but I feel like a lot of people don't even know that they're unhappy.
Oh yeah.
It's just like when I was starting my career, the biggest fear that I had was I celebrate Friday and I dread Sunday nights. I had a fear. I still have that fear. Over time, I changed my whys, and so I know why I'm working, and I know what I'm working towards. But there are a lot of people who are just going about their day, like which. If you have that fear, Friday, celebrate, Sunday, you dread, it means 5 days are just wasted and you never
and you just live for the weekends.
Which is dreadful because like 5 out of 7 is just gone and you're never going to get it back. So is there a point in your life, or based on the conversations and the dialogue sessions that you've had, where people who were going through this, was there a specific thing or specific time or something that triggered them to be more self-aware, to realize about what their emotional status was?
I think it's usually like hitting rock bottom. You know, like some shit really goes down, and then you are forced to like reevaluate your life. That unfortunately, that's how it is. Because most people are not aware until they do the deep healing, and not even saying like you have to go to therapy and do all of that, but even like just to think about how you're living, it's you have to go through real shit. Go through something that triggers this awakening moment, and then starts you on this journey or whatever it is, that you are now sort of a little bit more self-aware on how you're living. Unfortunately it's bad shit. It's whatever it is, and but it's in a way also good, because you are forced to then reevaluate and then become the better version of yourself, a higher version of yourself, something that actually wants to live for the weekdays rather than the weekends. So I would say yes, a lot of triggers. I cannot specifically say one for anybody specifically, but I think the people who are still on autopilot, I don't think that they've gone through that. I'm sure that their life sucks in some way. Okay, everyone has their shit. Okay, but I'm sure they've either not gone through something that really forces them to shake them up, to look at their life, or they just are really running from whatever it is. Because some people can just block it out and not want to face it, not want to feel anything. That happens. And then you just keep living as you do, and that's fine too. But
my question is like, what are you doing on the weekdays that you dread so much? Like, who are you like fearing to see in that office or like cubicle? Like,
no, some people just don't like their work. It's like it's not a fear thing. It's not like they fear their boss. I mean, some people have anxiety. Like I was one of those people that I had anxiety.
I had one.
Particularly when I started work. But it's not. I don't think it's those things. Like people sometimes like think Singaporeans very cookie cutter. Education system. You study this, you get these marks. You go JC, you go poly, you go uni, and then you end up in some job. 9 to 5, you work, you die. You know, that's like So, but. And people are doing that because that's what we are told to do in school, particularly our generation, because there wasn't any other options. And the people who actually went out and made options for themselves, either there is a success trait in the, I read about this before, there's a success gene or something. People who come from families of entrepreneurs are more likely to be entrepreneurs as well, because of one thing is because of connections, etc. But there were some studies done, and on a genetic level there were some differences also. So for people who are brought up in very cookie cutter ways, like middle class Singaporean family, right, it takes a lot more courage and a lot more thought to do something different and break the mold that your parents have presented for you, and the government schools and everything have presented for you. So it's a little bit more challenging to come out of that and do something. So if you don't do that, you just end up doing the easiest option A lah, which is go work. But then when you're working overtime, you realize how burnt out you are, and you realize that this is not what you want to do. And then sometimes you have this inkling. I get this particular inkling until now when I watch like theatre plays, because that was something I wanted to do. I was either go to La Salle and study drama, or go to Poly and do Mascom, which I did Mascom, no regrets. But until now I have the inkling. When I went and watched the Lion King play, I think in 2019 or 2020, it was so fucking good.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
Then I was like, oh my god, then I was like living vicariously through the guys who were playing the drums near me. And I was like, so nice. You know, sometimes people have these moments, and it comes over time. So, and some people don't even realize it until something happens. That's what I was talking about. Until that moment, I think that's what she mentioned, like rock bottom. It doesn't have to be rock bottom as like the typical like rock bottom, or like it can be something. It can be something like a slap in the face.
Maybe you snap at someone and like, oh, you
or even something like attending a play. So those sort of things you don't realize until something happens, because you are just in the loop. You're not even aware that you're in the loop, like autopilot lah. Correct. That happens in Singapore a lot. A lot. And I think traveling can open your eyes a little bit.
Yeah. So there's a theory, right? You travel, you find yourself, and do all of these things, which I think yes, to a certain extent. But for me, I felt, and I always I would love to travel, get out, but I felt like traveling for me was running away from a lot of things that was keeping me down or like putting me in a box in Singapore. So for me, I felt like actually coming back home was me finding myself.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a very weird thing of like I never thought that
It's
would
like
be
an
the
inverse
case.
thing. You come back home to find your
Yeah, like I never thought that would be like I think I only found myself in the last 2 years back in Singapore when I was like, oh, this is my home. This is who I am. This is why I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, but when I was traveling, it was just more like avoiding all of the crap that I've gone through as a child or whatever, or anything that I was suppressing subconsciously. Which people also don't realize that. So a lot of people travel for escape, like as an escape tool.
I have a completely same but different. Let me explain.
Same but different.
Same but different. So I'm a massive fucking introvert. I am very comfortable in my room in front of my monitor watching my movies, etc. etc. So for me, and my wife was not. My wife likes to travel, go out, etc. etc. She's like the other side. So and she used to travel for escape, and I told her, if you travel for escape, but you're like 95% of the time here, if you're not happy here, you can travel and escape. That means out of 100%, 5% you're happy, 95% you're not. And then in our marriage, she didn't travel for the first 3 years together, never. So because number one, COVID, and number two, and number two, because I didn't give a shit. We could have traveled earlier once borders opened.
Right.
I just didn't want to. I told her, let's work on ourselves together here. We'll be here most of the time. So, but now going back to my introvert point, and I traveled alone once, and it was a big jarring experience for me because I just like to be in my own little corner in the room. So going out and then going to another place where the language is different, and then figuring out your transport, sitting in a restaurant alone, all these things, right, for someone like with my personality was completely like so uncomfortable. And when I went there, I was so like, I can just stay, order room service, watch movie in the hotel room and not go out, not deal with people. It will be so shock also. But I had to force myself to do something, and then it changed my perspective. And I did it a few times, and I realized that having these sort of experiences, like for me, it's like uncovered another side of me through force lah. Because there's a lot of self-talk I had to do to wear my shoes and go out of the room, because it's just so easy to just lie in bed.
Yeah.
So that opens up, like hence I think I said same but different.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was super uncomfortable doing it the first time, because I'm a routine guy. I wake up, I have a specific way of doing things. I walk a certain way, I sit at a certain place, I have a specific time for my coffee. I'm a robot.
Yeah.
Sit at a certain place. What do you mean?
Sorry?
What do you mean sit at a certain place?
Oh yeah, I have my preferred toilet.
Yep. Well, as most men do.
Yeah. I have my preferred toilet, yes. But I mean, like if let's say I go to like a Starbucks or something, I know what seat I like.
I'll usually find a seat where I overlook the entire. So if anything happens, like I got information to scan around.
No, for me, if let's say I take the train, there's a specific spot I like to stay in.
And then if the spot is not there, like
Suck thumb. So it's like it's just that very routine, and it fits, and that's why I go to the gym also. Like, it's like so routine.
Yeah.
Like just like no need to think, just do. So doing that was like a jarring thing.
Yeah.
So hence I said different lah.
But did you feel like you grew at some point as a person? Or?
Yes, a lot. The person I came back after from those trips was completely different.
Yeah.
So last time when it comes to like if example, you are unhappy with like somebody gave you the wrong dish at a hawker center or something, but it's still similar to the initial dish you ordered, I would be fuck it, I just eat, I still food. But my wife would be like, no, we ordered something else, has changed.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
No, say you need to voice out and say,
I'd be like, fuck, it's just food, just eat lah. Then sometimes my wife, like, okay, let's say my wife forgot to take like fork and spoon, or the auntie in the shop forgot to give soup or something. I'll be super lazy to go talk. It's not that I don't want to talk, I'll try to talk. It's like, fuck, I need to open my mouth. It's like, you know.
Exactly, bro.
Fuck, I need to go there and then master the energy to like, you know. then after the trip, then she say, yeah, I never take soup. And I was like, I will go take it for you. So that sort of change. And,
Okay.
And so it maybe, I think it made me a better
Come
person.
out of
than-
your shell a bit more.
Yeah. Because if not, I'm just too comfortable in my shell.
Are you like anti-confrontational or like?
No, I love to confront.
You love to confront?
I love confrontation, especially if it makes me think.
What? How do you tell he's not?
Bro, half the time I'm confronting everyone in the group. Right?
Half the time
Oh.
we are better.
I know. I'm talking about in public settings.
No, I love to
Public
confront.
setting.
I love to confront.
Okay.
But I like to confront only if it's makes me think.
You know, like if for example the food is bad or too much salt, right? I like, I don't want to like.
Food is bad or too much salt. I mean, for those cases, I don't need to yell. What? It's like, unless there's shit in my food or something, I don't need to yell. But that's just bad cooking. Doesn't deserve hate. So I'll just tell. It's like too much.
And food
Oh,
tasting
okay,
is actually
okay.
subjective. What might be actually very low salt to you might be actually salty or something.
No, for
Like
me
you-
it's like if I don't like the food, like I'm not coming back here. But,
But
whereas my
you
wife-
won't say lah.
I won't say. I just like my wife will like your food sucks. She'll just be quite upfront about
I
it.
won't to the waiter.
No, she won't say the food sucks, but your food is very bad. She'll just say like that. Yeah.
I won't unless I give a shit.
So is it dependent on the day?
No. No, I give a shit as in I care about the establishment. That must for me to like.
I think it's more of the creating a scene thing that which I'm like, nah, I'm not all.
I feel
for
like
that
you're
lah.
not a very confrontational guy.
Yeah, I'm not.
He's not.
No,
He's
no,
not.
yeah.
I'm like take it lah. But then like certain lines have to be crossed where I'm like extremely
Yeah.
confrontational. Then that's where I like I'm not gonna fucking back down. I think maybe you know.
Are you confrontational?
Yes.
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 What does she
Yeah.
First thing she said she's fired.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if I'm pissed off, I'm pissed off. Like, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I think I used to be very like self-conscious about the fact that I used to get angry all the time. But I just feel like now that's if I'm angry, it's for a good reason.
Right.
As opposed to like people used to call me angry, like, oh my god, Trisha's just an angry like small person. You know, she's just so angry all the time. And I was like, yes, but I'm angry because there's a reason, right? Everyone wants to focus on the feeling rather than what actually made me angry. And that used to really piss me off. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like completely opposite. Like, so I saw this. I used to be a very different person. Like I used to really give a shit about stuff, and then I saw this chart about how many years or something like that. It's a very small chart. How many years do we have in this earth? Like a median average age.
70 plus lah.
Yeah. No, but I saw a chart, and when I saw the chart, I was like, that's all. And then I was like, fuck this. I'm not gonna give a shit anymore.
Wait, so what was the age?
70 plus, I think.
70 plus.
70 plus. yeah.
Singapore.
No, global.
Oh, global. I
Every
think
five
bring
years,
bring
right?
it down to 60, right?
This was some years back. So, but the point is, when I saw that chart, I was expecting, like a huge ass chart, like. When I saw that small, I'm like,
Wait, what were you expecting? 200.
no. In terms of like how big the chart should be, I was like something. Okay, big chart, wow, so big, like.
Don't say such open-ended stuff.
That was his moment. You're just making fun of his moment.
It happens a lot lah on this podcast. Yeah.
He did. I'm sorry, but who? Wow, so big.
Poor thing.
Surprisingly, after I came back from Umrah, I've been way more confrontational.
Oh, good lah.
I don't know why. It's like it's been much more easier for me to just like.
Yeah, actually, I sense a change in you. There's a lot of changes I actually sense in you. Like seriously,
What kind of
go on.
in a good way.
Go on.
In a good way.
Okay.
Such as?
Yes.
Confrontational is one.
Mm.
You're a bit more open right now. You're opening up a bit more.
Don't know why. Maybe my wife's was like praying, oh God, make this idiot beside me have be more confrontational. He's way too quiet. I think it worked, man.
It's good. It's good for us.
Yeah.
It's good for us.
But do you mean open like in his like the way he talks or expresses
The way he
himself
talks.
or his
So
feelings?
even like playing FIFA, it's the little things. So we have a thing where we play FIFA.
Sure.
He used to play, but then life,
Yeah.
he got a kid and all that. He had to do his duties.
Yeah.
No, the PS5 wasn't where I wanted it to be.
Understand.
So hence, so
Yeah. So
Yeah,
now
now
he's, he starts coming back. It's nice. It's just it's very little things I noticed, but yeah.
interesting. I didn't know that. But yeah, I've noticed myself becoming like voicing out more. It's a very subtle, but then this is not me. Or what's wrong with me now? Yeah.
Or maybe it is you're just coming out.
Yeah,
That's all.
maybe
Just
maybe,
older now.
Older now, yeah.
Maybe
Like
actually maybe it's you're 35. That's why.
maybe.
Said it.
Oh, you
Like fun
Without
for
the number lah.
No, he said it. I'm 35.
No, but he said it.
Yeah.
So can you imagine how sometimes he wants to confront about things, then we have stuff like this.
And then you just go in circles over and over again. Yeah. So how do you edit this at the end? Like if you're just going in
Sometimes
circles.
I don't edit.
Yeah.
It just stays in.
Long form content lah, so that's the benefit.
Yeah.
And the best part about this is like it's raw. Like
Yeah.
the feedback we've actually gotten is like
Yeah.
people want to be part of this kind of raw
Fair enough, yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
With the moment we go a bit structured, people feel a bit of a disconnect because the idea behind this at the onset was to be the have the feel of four people. Or it was just 4 of us at the start, having coffee and just talking. That was
Yeah.
the idea. So we don't have structured conversations when you
The
do
more
that.
structured it is, the more like people put up
a blocker,
a
right?
block, a
But I
shield
don't feel
and-
like you guys are very like structured anyway. Like
No.
it's not who you are anyway, So
No, we can be structured
Sure.
when there is a need to be, but
We don't want to be
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
of the time.
it's topic specific, but in generally, if there needs to be a structure, we will be
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
you hear him and I particularly talking about like a specific topic, most of the time it's very structured and not on air.
right.
For me, you have to infuse comedy because like
Yeah.
that's
So when you're approaching You Do You, right? Are there any particular topics? I mean, the way you presented the idea behind the initiative was very open ended. Right? You're talking about people coming out of the box, etc. But are there any specific topics or any specific content pillars that you had in mind?
So when I first started off, yes. Now I don't know.
Okay.
Like I'm a bit like unsure. I'm just being real. Yeah. I have like no idea where I'm going with this. When I started, I had this like big plan of like I was doing workshops. I started with workshops and I was partnered with life coaches, which was great, and I enjoyed it. But I felt like it was too deep, too fast.
Okay.
Like the content was too deep, too fast, and people were not like. People came. I did have quite a good crowd, but I think they were not resonating so much yet. And then so I was like, okay, let me pivot it a little bit. Let's try something new. So then I started the dialogues, the monthly dialogues, and I also did a men's circle with Paul Foster, which was amazing. And that was very similar to the dialogues, but just for men. And the reason behind that was because I wanted You Do You to make sure that it's like unisex,
Right.
and men were part of the conversation.
Good,
because most of the time when it's these kinds of groups, it becomes very woman only,
Yep.
women centric,
Yeah.
startup for women, blah, blah, blah. And it's fine, it's women are great, but I feel like men are always missed out of the conversation, especially when it comes to like anything that's even a little bit emotional.
And we're hesitant also.
Hesitant
We're
as well.
hesitant.
Yes, definitely. And so as a woman, I didn't want to also front it a lot because I thought it will become very female dominated. So I got Paul to do the first men's circle, which I thought was genuinely such a great experience for me personally. Because we had like 10 men, and they were initially it was I think a bit awkward, it was like a little bit like hesitant, people were not like talking. Paul was great, he was amazing facilitator. And then after a while, like they started warming up, and then they started opening up about a lot of things that they were experiencing as men, and expectations and pressures that even I never thought about. Like one of them is about being a father, and you go to work, it's a big day at work, you're very stressed, blah blah blah, you have to provide, blah blah blah, and then you've got like to go home, and then you have to, like, there was this talk about putting on another mask because now you have to look at your wife, and because she's had her long day looking after the kid, so now you have to like now you have to then take over in that sense. So your only sort of the relief was that break between going home, that 20 minutes of going home where you have that 20 minutes to yourself. And I thought that was a really powerful statement because I didn't understand what men go through when they have kids. Everyone looks at the women and what they go through, and I'm not downplaying it, of course they go through a lot, but nobody cares about the men. Genuinely, honestly, nobody cares about how you feel.
One cares.
I'll tell you why, in my opinion. Why nobody cared about that was because there was no such thing as women empowerment probably 20, 30, 40 years back. Nobody gave a shit. The moment actually women empowerment starts coming into the picture, everything has to be 50-50, right? The moment it became 50-50, that's when the fact that the thing is like traditional men are no more. Excuse me. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's such thing called traditional men. You have to share your chores. Especially in an economy like Singapore, where your husband and wife has to work to ensure like the household runs. So the male will start struggling in terms of all that, and they will start having their own issues. And that's just my opinion. I'm not downplaying any gender.
No.
I think it's the problems are arising because you start sharing stuff. That's what I think.
Sure, I to a certain extent I agree. I mean, it is like, I do feel like because women also talk a lot more about their emotions, like they talk about how they're feeling, and so their problems emotionally is very there. Like I'm sure, like I've my sister, my mom, they always like, oh, so tired, I had such a bad day, and then the husband is just like, I mean, you're right.
I actually resonate more with her point than yours. Reason why is because there's truth to what you said, but I don't think it's because of women empowerment. I don't think women empowerment.
It's not solely because of women empowerment. In my opinion, I think that's one of the reasons.
In my opinion, it's nothing to do with that.
Okay.
My opinion is that over our generation and maybe the generation before us, just after the boomers, so maybe
Gen X.
At the later part of the Gen X, right, there's a bit of a shift where the gender roles became more fluid as the women also started entering the workforce, and this is when maybe your women empowerment thing can come into play, because at that time, in my opinion, based on what I have studied, the women who at that time were entering the workforce in masses, they were having this dilemma of the having to break the traditional role of caregiver at home, do the chores, cooking, and also juggling this new head of going to work. So that was happening. So based on what I have read and studied, that was a predicament that they faced over time. And as that happened, men naturally had to do a little bit more at home. So there was a shift from men as well. Men who were going into, so the women going this way, men were trying to go this way. Not trying to, like, it just so happened that had to go this way. So now if you see, we had this conversation 3 weeks ago in an episode, exactly we're talking about this. So we were saying that now fathers are much more involved in their kids' lives compared to like a Gen X or a boomer, where they literally just go to work, come back when the wife takes care of the baby the whole day, right? So now men are doing this also, hence more involved fathers lah. But I think that's why the conversation is like that. But now to her point of what she said, we don't talk at home, right? I think exactly what I said. I do not talk about my challenges. I only once in a while it leaks out when I'm tired, and I said leaks out because I didn't want to talk about it. Because the dilemma that I face is that you went through 9-10 months of pregnancy with your morning sickness, whatever physical ailments that you had. I mean, I had to support my wife. I had to make sure other things were being done at the same time, but I don't think I can compare to that. Growing a human being inside you and dealing with that and swaddling to work, etc.
No, it's fair.
So I once in a while when I felt like my complaints were going to slip out, and then I look at her and I realize what she been through, like, suck it up, But that's, I don't know if that's wrong or something, but I know it's not healthy. And at that time, I was very conscious about myself because in we have group chats, right? Non-podcast ones also. I found myself complaining much more often. I found myself being vocal about my sorrows with much less resistance for it to come out. Because every time, last time when I said something, it's always by there's, should I say, then I'll say. Now it's just I just need to vent something somewhere. And very similar to him. So it's like I had this very I don't know if it's bad, but a very challenging timing where so my son was born in September and I got my BTO keys in August. So at the same time my son was due, we were planning renovation, appliances, everything at the same time, and moving house on its own is so fucking tiring. So when I was having to face, and my wife and I are very, very, very particular about the house. So we planned every single thing, to where like a particular switch is, to where like a fan is, to where the TV is. Everything was by design. So we were planning it to such detail with the baby coming, and we shifted house. So I stayed in a rental. Then I didn't like the environment in the rental, but it was cheap. But the moment I found out my wife was pregnant, we moved back to my mom's house. And then we had a tradition. I didn't even know that there was this tradition. I only found out after the girl gets pregnant is that she has to move back to her mom's house.
Oh, is it?
I had no idea. So, but I thought, okay lah, people want to be involved. Just I didn't mind doing it, like, because if everybody wants to be involved, no harm. So we moved from rental to my mom's house to her mom's house. And then due to some living arrangements, we had to go back to my mom's house, and then we had to go back to my BTO now. So we moved 4 times in 10 months.
Oh gosh.
Which is horrible. And imagine my wife's feeling doing that when she was pregnant also. And we had a dog too who was with us through all this. So I had to like manage all that, right? Then so that it was very, very tiring. Like doing the shifting, planning the house, having the baby, and having the baby on its own is so freaking tiring. So my challenge was I only had 2 weeks of paternity leave because my it's 2024. It was also optional for the companies to take the additional 2 weeks, and my company didn't. So I had only the 2 weeks, and then back to work already. And baby sleep only like 2-3 hours max. So I had to deal with like 2 to 3 hours of interrupted sleep every day, going back to work, going to work, coming back, and then my wife took care of the baby the whole day, so I helped. And she was breastfeeding for a while. So and that's draining her physically also. So I had to come back. So go work, come back, wash bottles, take care of baby, do a bit of the night feed so that my wife gets some rest. And then I go to work. And it was a vicious cycle that happened, and I got just like drained already. It was just bad. Then so that was my internal dilemma, was that my wife go through all this. I when I look at my situation also, it's not the best. It's super tiring, but I felt like I cannot compare to what she went through, so I just shut up. But I was lucky that I had like him and another friend who also had a baby. His baby is like, I think going to be 1 year old soon. So he was also somewhat in my boat. So for me, I had my baby in the house at the same time. For him, he had his baby. Then his house is coming in like a month.
Oh gosh.
So he is like in a very similar situation to me. So I end up resonating with him a lot. So we at least I have him and he has me for like the shared experiences and all that. And we have him when we want to go for the later part. Hey, this part how you feel. So we end up talking. We even have a WhatsApp group called Idiot Dads.
Idiot Dads.
It's a good community.
So just to like sometimes like just vent out if we need, because sometimes when I go to work and come back, also my wife says, I'm tired. Then your energy should be full. Can you take care of the baby now? Look at her.
Energy full.
Energy full. Imagine going to work and then seeing him for 9 hours. I'm known as the fun one in the office. I don't get me started on that. I want to fucking punch you, bro.
To wrap up from your question, so I don't know where I'm going. I'm just trying to like have these little dialogues and see where the conversation leads. But any suggestions are welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, but hopefully I can figure out some way to make it more structured and formal.
We'll try to attend one of your events in the future.
Yeah,
I
please
couldn't
do.
attend
Yeah.
the last one.
That's okay.
Where do you usually hold this event?
If we do dialogues, it's mostly like in a restaurant or so tomorrow we're doing a breakfast. So tomorrow I was supposed to have a panel, but I didn't get enough people, so I'm changing it to just a normal like dialogue at a cafe. So just a very
Nice.
very chill. I like it chill because I think it's just nice to have a conversation rather than just have something that's very
Structured, formal.
or like I'm
how are
throwing
you?
content
Hello,
at somebody,
hi,
and
hello.
I don't want to like come across like as if I know how to live, which is subjective as well. So yeah,
We're all figuring this thing called life.
yeah.
Sorry, it's just
where were you going with it?
this is the ZTech talking. This is like the third ZTech I had, so I'm feeling very drowsy right now.
So if there's one thing that you would like to achieve with this page, is there anything particular that you can name?
Ideally, I'd like to make sure that we have like a really good community that keeps going, keeps building, and keeps inspiring, and keeps bringing people back if they need that space to vent or just explore themselves. I would love to continue growing that space, but I think also just in general, just like having even one or two people who feel like it was useful for them, and I think that's good enough really for me.
One
For
dream
now.
host that you would actually want to have run your session.
Dream host.
Dream host or dream guest?
Dream facilitate. Like,
There's this girl from from the Middle East in Dubai. Her name is Sarah Al-Mahdi. I think she's like she was from a reality show. I think I can't remember what it was.
Dubai Bling or something?
No, it's not Dubai Bling.
Oh.
But it was I don't know, Housewives.
Okay.
Anyway,
Dubai.
she's a very spiritual person. She's like super evolved, and every time I watch her reels, I'm just like inspired by just her. She's super
What's
cool.
her name? Sarah what?
Al-Ahmadi. I don't know. I can't pronounce her name.
Al-Ahmadi.
Super pretty as well. But
She's what, like an influencer or
she's like an influencer now. She does her own retreats, and she does like very similar. She does like dialogues and stuff. I think you're very inspired, like just the way she is and how she talks about life and how she is with her son as well. Yeah, I like it.
so hopefully when she's in Singapore, she does a session.
Ideally, yeah, but I think she'll be expensive.
Oh, for sure. So they don't come.
Anyway,
Nice. We wish you all the best with that.
thank you very much, and thank you for having me, and congratulations on your 5th year of running this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you for having us, and thank you for reaching out also. It's been a nice
Thanks for
conversation.
answering.
I like how you did
I did, yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.